everybody.
Hi, it's Becca and Lizzie here. We're here for our fifth and final webinar in the NFU Education Becca and Lizzie Meet series. If you've watched us before, welcome back. And if you're new here, hello.
For our final week, we are saying a big hello to Farmer Flavian. Hello, Farmer Flavian.
Hi, everyone.
So we were lucky enough to visit Farmer Flavian to see what he does for his job.
So the colour of his animals are pink. Can you guess what they might be? That's right, they're pigs.
We were lucky enough, as I said, to go and visit Farmer Flavian and his pigs. Now we're about to show you the video. Please send in lots of questions whilst you're watching. They come straight through to our phones and we'll be able to ask them when the video's ended. Everybody, we're Becca and Lizzie. I'm Becca.
And I'm Lizzie, and we've got our wellies on today visiting a pig farm.
That's right, we're here to learn about how pig farmers look after their pigs to keep them happy and healthy.
Are you ready to get your boots muddy too? Great, let's see who we're meeting today. This is Farmer Flavian. Shall we say hello? Hi, Farmer Flavian.
Hi, everyone. So we're on a farm here where I work. I started farming 12 years ago, and I now look after the pigs. My main jobs are mainly bedding the pigs up, mucking them out, making sure they've got food and water, and ensuring they're happy and healthy.
Amazing. Is there anything we could do on farm today?
Yes, there are some jobs you can help me with.
Would you like to come and help us do the jobs? Great.
Let's go. So here we are in the pig shed. We've got about 200 odd pigs in here.
And they're in separate pens. Does that mean they're with their friends?
Yes, friends, brothers, sisters. We try and keep them in batches that they were born in. So we work on like a 3-week batch system to put them in with their litter mates, split them into about 18 to 20, and they stay in that group until they go.
And some of them are inside and some of them are outside. Why is that?
So it's because we try and offer our customers an option, and also it's good to see pigs outside because you don't normally see many pigs outside. So they're born outside, their mothers stay outside most of the year, and then when they get to about 12 weeks, they come indoors. It would be good to have them all outside because it's, in my opinion, it's cheaper to have them outside because you haven't got electric, you don't have a building to keep them in. But the soil we have doesn't drain that well. So when it's raining like now, it will get too wet and the pigs don't like being in the rain.
That's really interesting. So what jobs do you do in here?
So in here, like this morning, I started early because you two are coming. So I mucked them out, checked their water, bedded them up with fresh straw and fed them.
And we can see that the pigs are really happy and healthy, and they look like natural pigs would, be doing things in the wild.
Yeah, so like I said, we bed them up every day. So the fact that they've got straw every day, they eat half that straw, they use it as bedding, they root around in it. And because they're also with their litter mates, they get to play, bite each other and just be pigs.
Wow, well, they definitely look very, very happy. So, Farmer Flavian, we've been to see the pigs, and when they're older, they go to the farm shop to be made into tasty sausages and bacon. Is that right?
Yes, they do. And I know not everyone eats pork, but it's a good source of protein, iron and vitamins.
Wow, I didn't know that. Did you guys? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Farmer Flavian, you've shown us the pigs and everything you're doing to keep them happy and healthy. But are you doing anything else for the environment?
Yes, we're trying to. As you can see, we're stood in a dryer in here. I don't know if you can hear the dryer in the background. This is wood chip. The logs come from a neighbouring county, Sussex, a town called Petworth, and we buy the logs, bring them here. We hire a chipper, which comes and chips into wood chip, and we dry the wood chip here, and then it's used to heat the houses on the farm, and we also use it at the farm shop to heat the farm shop. And when it's working properly, it saves us a fair bit of money on energy.
Wow, it's amazing to see farmers not only looking after their animals, but the world we live in as well.
Yes, I think it's our duty as farmers to definitely look after the environment.
So we've seen the pigs, we've helped on farm, and we've learned all about how Farmer Flavian helps the planet. To end the day, we're here with the piglets.
But apart from these piglets, what's your favourite part of your job?
I enjoy working outside, especially when the sun's out and it's not raining. And also, I like the fact that I'm producing food for people.
Wow, well, we've loved our day here. I think we should say thanks to Farmer Flavian.
Thanks, Farmer Flavian.
You're welcome.
Do you have any questions? You'll be able to ask them very soon.
Welcome back. I love seeing the piglets. Did you? You've started asking some very, very good questions already. But Becca, which one's first?
So our first question is from Sophia in Year 5 at Corston Grange Primary School. And Sophia has asked, how do you get into pig farming?
That's a very good question, Sophia. Hi, Sophia. I would say initially I used to like the way they smell, and I don't like the way they smell so much now, 12 years in. But I think it's because they're quite cheeky animals, they're inquisitive, they're really independent. Like if a pig doesn't want to do something, they won't do it. And I like the fact that they always test the boundaries, a bit like your pets at home, like your dogs or your cats. Pigs always try and push the boundaries, so that I enjoy about them.
And did you study anything to do with pigs at school or college, or did you just go straight into farming?
I didn't study anything specifically about pigs. I did a degree on animal management, and I tried to do all my assignments on pigs, which I was told not to, even though some assignments are about snakes or crocodiles, and I always tried to bring a pig into it. So aside from the degree I did, which is animal management, I didn't do anything to do with farming.
Interesting.
That is, and I think if any of the children are watching at home and they might want to get into pig farming, they don't necessarily have to study that, do they?
Yeah, that's true. And as I've said to other kids before, if you want to come into farming, there's so many other jobs other than pig farming even. You could even drive a lorry to deliver a pig feed. You could work with genetics to look at how animals breed. You could work with animal feed. You could sell wheat and barley, which you use to make all different things like bread, rotis and all those sorts of things. So yeah, there's so many jobs in farming and agriculture, not just looking after pigs.
Well, that's really, really good to know. And Lizzie, have you got a next question for us?
We do. So this one is from EVS, and they are in Year 5 at Corston Grange Primary School. So Evie says, how long does a piglet stay a piglet for?
Oh, that's a good question, Evie. How long does a piglet stay a piglet for? I would say they'll probably stop being called a piglet when they've left the mother. We take them from the mother at 4 weeks, but in the wild, compared to their wild cousins, the wild boar, they'll probably stay with their mothers for 6 to 8 weeks. So at that stage, they're called weaners. So we could say 4 to 6 weeks they stop being piglets.
But they don't mind being taken away from their mothers, do they? Because you give them all the food and conditions that they need to be happy anyway.
Yes, so I would say by the time we're taking the piglets from their mothers have already started sort of spending less time away from the piglets, and the piglets are more inquisitive. They walk farther and farther away from their huts. So I think by that point they've started eating the food the mothers eat as well. So it's almost a stage which is probably best to take them away from the mother, because if they stay on the mother for too long, they'll take too much milk from the mother and the mother will start losing condition.
That's really interesting. Well, we've got another question, and this is from Yelmstone Farm Primary School. And this is a really good one. What do pigs actually eat?
Another good question. Pigs. So pigs are like us. They can eat meat and also plants. And the pigs on our farm eat pellets, which are made with wheat, barley, a bit of soya. They also have biscuit meal in there. So all the biscuits that you buy from the supermarkets, the ones that don't make the shelf or go off out of date, they all get minced up into a powder, and that gets put into pig feed. They also have molasses in their feed. They have vitamins like we do as well, because they need that to grow. Sometimes if they're sick or they've got worms, we put a little bit of medication in their feed to help their worms. So yeah, I would say we don't feed pigs meat because that's not allowed in this country because of disease spread. But in the wild, wild pigs or wild boar can eat dead animals or meat, but that's not allowed to be fed on farm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So another question, I really like this one, Becca. Why do pigs like to be in the mud?
So pigs only like to be in the mud when it's hot. You will never find a pig rolling around in the mud in the winter. And I remember I used to work on a farm in Winchester, and when it was really cold in the winter, going out to feed the mothers, they would just poke their heads out of the hut and they won't come out, because if it's raining or it's too cold, they don't like it. But in the summer, because as Lizzie said earlier, they're pink, their skin burns just like ours. So the reason they roll around in mud is to have a bit of a coating to stop their skin burning. And
like sun cream?
Yeah, like sunscreen. And it's similar to how other animals in the wild do, like rhinos do the same thing, elephants do the same thing, buffalo do similar things when it's too hot. Yeah.
Really, really interesting. Our next question is, well, another good one. How can you tell how the pigs are feeling? Now, I'm guessing this is something maybe to do with if they're acting like they maybe would in the wild, it means they're happy.
So I would say if, like with animals, so long as they're safe, so they're not scared of, I don't know, being attacked by a fox or something. They're not hungry, so they've got food, they've got water, and they've got their companions around them, and things to play with, sort of like straw. They could pick up stones and play with that. That's when you know that the pig's going to be showing its natural behavior. Other signs to look at: if a pig's not happy, when the ears are back, chances are it's probably sick with something. If it hunches its back, it's normally feeling a bit poorly. When their hairs stand, it's normally feeling a bit poorly as well. And when I walk into the shed, like you saw in the video, normally the first pen will bark and they'll scare all the others, and it will be like a chain reaction. They'll all make that noise. If I walk into the shed and they don't do that and they're not asleep, there's a problem. So it's all those little things I look for to see whether the pigs are okay or not.
I think we saw in the video just how much you look after your pigs and look out for the signs to make sure they are happy and healthy. So we've got another great question here. There's so many coming through. Thank you all. So Kingfisher class at Beach Hill School have asked, what are male pigs called? Very, very good question.
A male pig is called a boar. And in case there's another question about female pigs, a female pig is called a sow when it's had piglets. Before it's had piglets, it's called a gilt, G-I-L-T.
It's interesting that there's different names for the different pigs. Yeah. We've actually had another question from Kingfisher class as well. How many piglets can a pig have? Now, we saw some of the ones and they looked like they had a lot of piglets.
Yeah, so on the farm where I'm on now, we've had a sow that's had 2 piglets, and we've also had a sow that's had 24. So
wow,
it varies.
24?
Yeah, 24.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot. And the interesting thing with pigs is because they've got, I just will be getting too biological now. They've essentially got 2 wombs, and if they've got a piglet in each womb, they can hold the pregnancy the whole way. So even if they've got just 2 piglets or 10, they'll hold the pregnancy the whole way. Yeah.
That's so interesting and seems to be different to the other animals we've talked about in the series so far.
I've just seen another good question come through, Becca.
Go on.
So, do any of your pigs have names?
I always get this question. So our pigs are tagged and they've got numbers, and we do tags that are different colors. So at the moment, the orange tags the oldest animals, and then you've got red tag and then yellow tag. So most of them I know by number, and I'll just show you using my phone here how we use the tagging system. So on the tagging system, we'd have this side as a hundreds, so this is a 3 months lesson as well. So this side as a hundreds, that's tens and that's ones, and a square is 1 and a triangle is 3. So if we've got a square this side, that'll be 100. We've got a triangle there, that'll be 3, and then we've got a triangle there, 3. So that'll be 133. And if it's a blue tag, will be blue 133. That said, I've got a few sales that are I've named before. So I've got one called Maybelline because she's got sort of not eyeliner, but she's got black color around her eye, which looks like eyeliner. So that's why I call her Maybelline. And then where I've worked before, I had one called Nibbles because she looked a bit like a mouse, and she'd had her ear nibbled by her piglet. And then her sister we call Dribbles just because it rhymes. So, yeah.
Nibbles and dribbles.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting though is when they have those special tags with the special numbers, it means that you can keep a special eye on ones which might not have been very well, or if you've had to give them treatment as well, which is really important.
Yes, and also you can tell who the cheeky ones are. So at the moment on the farm, we've got one yellow 46, and she keeps breaking the fences and getting out, and she's been doing it all week. I managed to catch her yesterday, and I hope she stays in this weekend. But yeah, she's definitely one to watch.
Well, we've had another good question. We've talked about what the pigs eat, but the next question is how much do they eat? And I guess this depends on how old they are.
Yes, it does depend on how old they are. A bit like you, you kids, when you're a baby, you eat less than when you're now in year 5 or year 6. So when they're with their mother, they just have milk as much as they can because their mother's there. We feed the mothers as much as we can as well. I use a system called Adlib. So the sows would have food there all the time, and they can eat up to 10 to 15 kilos per day. But then don't forget the sows will be more than 200 kilos, and they're feeding 10 to 14 piglets, which grow quite quickly. So the piglet is born at about 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos, and within 4 weeks, some of them are 10, 11 kilos. So they grow really quickly. So at that stage, the piglets are only having milk. When they get taken from the mother at 4 weeks old, they'll probably eat up to about 0.5 kilo a day, and then that goes up slowly. And by the time they're, I would say, about 50, 60 kilos, they can eat up to 2.5 kilos a day. And again, from when they're taken from the mother, they have food all the time. So they just eat and regulate themselves. And pigs are one of the few animals, I think chickens are the same, where a pig eats to what the body needs. So if you give a pig that needs to eat 16% protein food, and you give it 10, 20 and 30, they'll pick a little bit off each to get to what the body needs, which is quite clever really. And then with the mothers, when they don't have piglets, we feed them 3 kilos a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's interesting because we've had a question asking, are pigs clever? And so actually, they are quite clever.
With their cleverness, they're clever, but they won't do your homework. I would say they're clever in the sense that because they're inquisitive, they're always looking for something new. They're always, like Yellow 46, I've just said, she's always looking to somewhere to break a fence. But compared to my dog Rex, the pig dog, Rex, if a pig is clever, then Rex must be a professor. Because sort of Rex can learn routine. Rex can know that if I go this way, I'll stop the pig going the other way. Whereas I think pigs, because of being a prey animal, when they get startled or scared, their cleverness goes away because you can see a pig running straight into a gate, which they know they can't get through, but they're just panicking. So I think when people say pigs are clever, it's relative rather than they're going to sit there and do a degree.
Well, we've had lots of questions here, Becca. Do you think we should, I don't know which one to pick. Should we ask this one perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good
Very
one.
good question. So primary 3 at Lancreg's Primary have said, how long do you keep the pigs before they go to market? Now, I think that's a fantastic question because in the video we talked about sausages and bacon.
Mm-hmm. So this depends on what your customer wants. So for me as a farmer, I'd look at what my customer wants and decide when to take the animals to market. So you've got different stages. So you have a porker is the lightest one you get sent to market. So that's normally about 60 to 70 kilos. And then the next stage up is called a light cutter. And then after that, you've got a heavy cutter and then a baconer. So a baconer is the biggest one. That's where you get your most of your bacon from. So that size gets achieved from about 5 months. So that's 20 weeks. And at that stage, yes, I know 5 months sounds sort of quite young and tiny, but they're probably, I would say, 3-4 foot off the ground, so they're quite big animals at that point. Over 100 kilos by the time they're baconers.
Definitely, and what's important is that you've had these pigs from birth and you know exactly how they've been looked after, and everything's really traceable back to a farm where they've been looked after, and you're also looking after the environment as well whilst you produce food.
Yes, and where our farm is, we're quite lucky that the where we take them to the abattoir, that's only half an hour away. So from the farm to the abattoir, half an hour, and then back to the farm shop, which is 25 minutes away from the abattoir. So that journey is so short, and I'm quite lucky in that once a week I go to the shop and do some butchery. So when I've gone to the abattoir on a Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning I'm at the shop butchering the pigs that I took yesterday. These are the same pigs that I saw when they were born 5 months before. So I can see the full cycle, and you know exactly what's happening to the animals, you know what you've given them, you know the life they've led, which I think is really good.
Definitely, and it's really reassuring to hear farmers know exactly what's happened to the pigs whilst they're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a question here, and we often get asked one like this depending on what animal we're talking about. And Mia from Northmuir Primary School has asked, how fast can your pigs run?
How fast can the pigs run? I found this out, I think it was last year. We were trying to move us out with our piglets, and it was winter, so it's quite dark, and she chased me. And they're quite quick, probably in the first 10 meters, and then they stop chasing. But I would say they're probably quicker than your average person. I don't know what the numbers are, but I wouldn't want to be chased by a pig, an angry pig, no.
Wow.
What's our next question, Lizzie?
Oh gosh, we've got so many. How about this one? So Moor Row Primary School say, what age were you when you started pig farming? How old were you?
When I started pig farming properly as a job, I was 19. But the first experience I had of pigs was on my uncle's farm back in Kenya when I was 13. And yeah, back then I wouldn't call it working. I was just there and just helping out. But yeah, so we could say 13 years old.
Interesting. So that means that actually you can still get involved when you're younger, but you might just need to be a bit older to get fully involved in it.
Yeah.
So we've got a question here from Spence. Do you need a license to keep a pig?
Fantastic question.
Really good.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to say yes, not license like your driving license, but you do need to have certain paperwork to be able to keep a pig, because even if you're going to keep it as a pet and take it on walks like your dog, you will have to be given certain routes to take it on walks. But then it depends with disease, because with farm animals, disease can be spread by where the animal walks. So you would have to ask your local council on the rules behind that. You definitely need to have a county parish holding number. So for you to move a pig from point A to B, it has to be logged online. What vehicle you're taking it in, who's taking it, when you're doing it, the time you're doing it, and when you get there, how long the journey is. So it is quite strict on keeping pigs, mainly because of the disease spread.
But I think that's really reassuring, because again, it goes back to knowing where the pigs come from and where it's been.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Primary 3, Landcraigs Primary. Do you use any technology to help you on the farm?
Yes, we use technology. My phone mainly. I use that to log everything. So if I've jabbed a pig with any medication, I put it on my phone. if how many piglets the pigs had, I put it on my phone, where the pigs are, in what paddocks, I put that on my phone as well. A new bit of technology we got recently is an injection sort of device that doesn't have a needle. So this device uses pressure to just get under the skin of the pig. So rather than use 2 mil of a vaccine to get into the pig at 4 weeks old, it only uses 0.2 mil, and it's so much quicker, and I could do it on my own. So I just pick a pig up, you put it next to the device, and it just goes just under the skin.
And that's all to look after them?
Yes, yeah.
Great. Well, have you seen this question, Becca? Do the pigs have a time to go to bed? Not
like you guys, but they do tend to go to bed when we finish work. So we turn the lights off in the shed, 5 o'clock, 5:30, and yeah, they'll just tend to go to sleep. Some will still wake up. Sometimes I've gone in the night and you can hear some are still eating, some are drinking. So yeah, they just tend to sleep when they want, I guess.
That sounds very relaxing.
It does.
It sounds like they have midnight snacks as well.
It does. Well, I think we've got time for one more question.
Oh, go on then. Which one are we picking?
And, well, to be honest, it's quite hard to choose, but I'm going to go from this one because we touched on it in the video, and it's Johnny from Northmuir. And the question is, how do you clean out the pigs?
How do I clean out the pigs? So obviously the ones in the shed are the only ones cleaned out, because when they're outside, they just do their business and you just move them from one bit of the field to another. You don't have to pick anything up. So in the shed, first thing I'll do in the morning is go in, walk into each pen with a fork and take any poo out of the pen, shut them in, all the pens in, and then I'll get in a small tractor that we've got with a scraper. You just go in the shed and push it all into one big lump, open the pigs up, and then put straw in there. And you do that every day, whether it's Christmas, New Year's Day, bank holiday, Monday, Sunday, you got to do that every day.
So that's really good to hear that the pigs are clean every single day of the year. Well, as I said, that was our last question. And I just want to say thank you for sending in so many fantastic ones. I think we should also say thank you to Farmer Flavian for giving up his time today to come and speak to us.
Thank you, Farmer Flavian.
You're welcome.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed all of our sessions and joining us on farm and asking so many great questions as well.
Absolutely. And if you've taken any photos today, please do tag NFU Education. We'd love to see you enjoying the webinar series. But if you have missed any of the other episodes, please do have a look on the NFU Education YouTube channel where you can catch up.
Well, we hope you have a great weekend, and remember everything that you've learned next time you visit a supermarket or a farm.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about farming, don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for Science Farm Live. It's coming to hopefully your school in March for British Science Week. Well, that's all from us. Bye.
Bye.